so today is day 4 of your STAAR review, and in this video we're going to be discussing simple and compound interest. In a separate video we'll be discussing the real number system, but for this one we're going to be again discussing interest. So let's go ahead and look at where your foldables should be placed. Again, you should already have this by watching how to get today started, which is in the very first slide of your Google slide. So again, you should be on page 3, and at the very top, this is where your foldable is going to be placed. So let's go ahead and go back to our PowerPoint, and we're going to go ahead and again get into simple and compound interest. Okay, so first we're going to talk about simple interest. So the formula for simple interest is I equals P times R times T. So what do each of these letters mean? I stands for the interest earned. So whenever you do this formula, it only gives you interest. Then you have P, which is your principal. So this is your starting amount. Okay, then you have your rate, which always has to be a percent. And then you have time, which always has to be years. So basically what you're doing here, you're taking the amount of money you have times the percent times the amount of years. So now looking at your foldable, this is everything you should have written. And again, now we're going to get into the first example, and you can show all your work down here. So it says Jada put $4,000 in an account that pays 3.25% annual simple interest. If she makes no additional deposits or withdrawals, how much interest will Jada earn on this investment at the end of 5 years? So let's go ahead and highlight some important things. So first we need to highlight our principal. And remember, this is your money. So my principal here is $4,000. This is my money. And then I have to have my rate, which is my percent, and this is 3.25%. That's my rate. And then the amount of years, the time, that is 5 years. And then it's also important to make sure you know which interest you're finding, either simple or compound. And it tells us right here that it is simple interest. The question says, how much interest will Jada earn on this investment? So I'm just finding the amount of interest. I don't have to find the total balance in her account. So again, our formula was I equals P times R times T. Now our principal was $4,000 times our interest rate, which was 3.25%, and times the amount of years, which was 5. So now we're going to go ahead and open up our calculator, and I'm going to press the home button, and we're going to press the on button. No, I'm sorry, we're going to open up the calculator. So here it tells us 4,000 times 3.25% times the amount of years, which was 5. And here we see that the amount of interest earned is $650. So the amount of interest earned is $650. But if they wanted to know what the balance was in her account, all you would have to do was to add the principal. So to find the total amount, you would take the principal plus the interest. So 4,000 plus 650 equals 4,650. So this would be the total amount in her account. So now going ahead and looking at your foldable, again, this is everything you should have written down. So again, go ahead and pause if you need to. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and get into the second type of interest, which is compound interest. So the formula for compound interest is A equals P times 1 plus R to the power of T. So most of these things mean the same thing, but here you have a new letter, which is A. So A stands for your account balance. So this is the amount of money in your account at the end of the amount of years you have. So this includes your principal, the money, plus the amount of interest earned. And I just realized I put 2 T's, but that's okay. So the amount of interest earned. And then again, we have our principal, which is our starting amount. Principal. And this is starting amount. And then we are multiplying this by 1 plus r, which is our interest rate, which always has to be in the percent. And this is to the power of t. Now, it's very important that you remember that this is to the power of t. We're not multiplying t. So on your calculator, you have to use the caret top. And again, this is time in years. So looking at our foldable now, this is what you should have written down for compound interest. So now we're going to go ahead and open this up and we're going to look at our example. So it says George deposited $5,000 in an account that pays 3% compound annual interest. If no additional deposits or withdrawals are made, which of the following is closest to the total amount of interest George's account will earn at the end of 4 years? So it's very important to remember that whenever you're using the compound interest formula, that it gives you the account balance. Now, my question is asking for solely the amount of interest. So if I'm looking for the amount of interest, once I plug all my numbers in, I'm just going to subtract my principal. So again, we have A equals P times 1 plus R to the power of T. So let's identify our principal rate and time. So in the question, my principal, again, is your money. My money here is $5,000. So P equals 5,000. Then my rate is my interest rate, my percent, and that is 3%. And then we have my time, which is the amount of years. So that's 4 years. Now it's very important to remember that if you ever get the time in months, you have to divide the amount of months by 12. So if this said 48 months, you wanted to divide it by 12 to get the amount of years. And you're dividing by 12 because that's the amount of months in 1 year. So now that we have found this out, we can plug this in. So my principal was 5,000 times 1 plus R, which is 3%, to the power of T. So I'm going to press the caret top and 4. And again, I forgot to highlight that in the question it does tell us we are doing compound annual interest. So opening up my calculator, I'm going to put this in. So I have 5,000. I'm going to open up a parentheses. The parentheses is right here. And then I have 1 plus 3%. Now again, you get the percent symbol. It's the question mark and exclamation point, which you can find on the keyboard. It's in the first row, the very last button. And you open it up and you're going to press the percent symbol. You want to close your parentheses and you want to press the caret top because you're raising this to the power of 4. You're not multiplying it to the power of 4. So here we get a fraction. We want to convert it to a decimal, so menu to 1. And here we get 5,627.54. So this is my account balance at the end of 4 years. But again, my question was just asking for interest. So my account balance includes my starting amount plus the amount of interest that the account has earned. So if I just want to find the interest, I want to find the difference between my ending amount and my starting amount, I'm going to subtract 5,000. When I subtract 5,000, I get $627.54, which means that C is my answer. Okay. So going to your foldable, this is everything you should have written down for compound interest. So again, if you need a second to catch up, go ahead and do so. But again, that was the video going over simple and compound interest. Before you start your assignment, make sure you have watched the video going and completed your foldable going over the real number system.